Here's a good question, I think, for both of us, and for really anybody who's been out for any amount of time. There's a disturbing trend in our current society where everything from mathematics to our highway systems to classical music and composure to uh, driving a pickup truck is all considered white supremacy. It's all considered white supremacy. What is your take um, uh, on that particular issue?
That's a great question, by the way, Red. This type of thinking, I believe, is extremist thought. When you start accusing random things like math or inanimate objects or things of that nature of being white supremacy, black supremacy, Asian supremacy, this sort of thing, I think you've fallen down an extremist rabbit hole in its
Sure.
own sense. And I know that there's different schools of thought on this sort of thing, and
Right.
I know that, or I understand, excuse me, what they're saying. But and that brings up another question, and a thing I would like to cover as well,
Sure.
like
Mm-hmm.
where there's a term that they use called dismantling whiteness.
Mm,
Okay, let's, and this falls right in line with your question as well. When you start using terms like that, and I understand what they're saying, and I
sure.
understand that, but we're not talking about that. But
Right.
when you use terms like that, that's going to trigger people. That's going to
Yes.
trigger people that have never been in the movement, that have
Right.
never even thought about joining a white supremacist movement,
Right.
that were not even racist in the first place. When that feeds into the extremist narratives that says,
Yes.
okay, if I'm white or whatever race is being targeted by such statements, or if I'm black, can you imagine if someone said we're going to dismantle blackness? Sorry, the color of your skin is how you were born. You didn't
Right.
have a choice in that, whether you were black, white, Asian. None of that should matter. We
Exactly.
should not be focusing on. We should focus on our humanity. That's what we all have in common. And I think
Exactly.
a lot of these studies and a lot of these programs and things like that that talk about things like that, I think for a number of the people that believe in that stuff, I think it's coming from a good place, that they think it's
Sure.
something positive, they think it's helpful, and they think it's uplifting. But when you're uplifting people, all people should be uplifted.
Yes.
You're uplifting one or the other. It's really I mean, the movement says they're uplifting white people, and that's what it's all about. I mean, if
Right.
you flip it on, you could flip that any way, any other way. And if you're specifically uplifting one group of people, whether or one gender, I mean, we could,
Right.
or one religion,
Right.
uh, there's always people that are going to feel alienated. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
Sure.
I don't want to play that game. What
Right.
I'm saying is this is how people feel. And when you start alienating people and you start leaving people out, it adds to those grievances.
Yeah. Jeff, I'd like to echo what you said, and really drive it home to folks that, you know, when you start throwing color into everything, whether it's, hatred for one race or what have you, that is the textbook definition of racism. It really is. And I'm trying to word it the best way possible here. But the fact is, Jeff, you said it better than what most people will even care to want to admit, and that is it's an extremist rabbit hole.